Alright, so today I'm working on red for my these are catachans but I'm using them as gangers. Oh, you can't see that. Look at that. Let me get something elevate and twist my hand around here. Let's try that. Is that gonna be good enough? Shit. Alright, well, we'll do what we can. I'm just painting bandanas. Now some of the bandanas I painted blue last time, and I'm gonna paint some red ones now. And while I'm at it, I'll just give you an update on how our campaign is going. So we started our second campaign for five parsecs from home. 5 parsecs from home. And this time, I'm not giving them any handicaps. I'm not cutting them any breaks. They're playing the straight up game. And I started them off in a, not necessarily a derelict space station, but a space station that's like under invasion, let's say. And they had to escape on the first round. So they had to find themselves a ship. They have to find themselves a crew. Oh, crap. That's not too bad. Find themselves a ship, find a crew, and get off of the station. Now, like before, I was, I was doing like little mini recreations. And, there we go. And, but, like, I'm not playing from my house, so I've had to, relocate. It's having a hard time relocating all of my stuff from one house to the next. So, I'm just going to give you a rundown as to what happened. And basically what happened was, they went against some, like, space creatures, which, had just melee only. They're like, dumb animals, so they didn't have any real ranged capabilities. And they rolled a move through scenario, so they had to go from one side of the board to the other. And there are 3 of them, so they start off with 3 dudes. And I'm painting and talking at the same time, so you guys can have to bear with me here. So, what I rolled that they only got like 2, maybe 3 bad guys. But I cheated my ass off and I made them fight 7 bad guys, because I know these guys. And I ran them down. I started on one side of the board, they started on the other side of the board. And I was able to... they started on like one started on the left hand side, and they couldn't come in all at the same time. They had to roll to come in. Like they only started with 1 dude on the board, and then they had to roll to come in, which actually worked out in their favor, because 1 dude came in on the left side. And then the next turn, another dude came on the very right side. Oh, fuck. I'll fix that in post, right? I'll fix that later. I got it in his eye a little bit. But, whatever. And, what was the other thing that happened? I think that's all I'm going to do to that guy. Let me set that guy aside. And so I ran to the right side of the board with all my guys, or at least some of my dudes. And I killed him pretty much right away, but then the other guy came in on the next turn, and he came in with the other guy. And so then they started booking it for their side, and I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to catch up to him. But I was eventually able to catch up. And the scenario calls for the AI to be like really stupid and just run right out and catch it in the face in melee combat. But I'm cheating. So I had them, if they could, they would take cover, you know, wherever. If it was a choice between going out there this turn and not making it all the way to them and getting smacked in the face, or, you know, taking cover, then I'd have them take cover and hit them the next time. And I got the second guy down, which was, you know, great. But the other guy, he had some kind of a stim pills or something, which gave him an extra turn of movement, and so he was able to dash, which gives you an extra 2 inches of movement, and make an extra movement turn. So he was able to go like 8 inches, and he got past me, and he got off the board, and that was the end of the scenario. And so what's interesting about this game is the combat in the game is everyone's least favorite part. The combat is fun, and, you know, but, you know, they're terrified of me because now they know I'm a dungeon master on a rampage with a vengeance and a chip on my shoulder. So, but the game is so, like, the opponents are just really weak, and even with the starting characters that they had with no level ups or anything, you know, they're experienced enough to know how to work their characters to a point where they really didn't have a whole hell of a hard time. I mean, if he hadn't had that stim pill, you know, I would have had him dead to rights. You know, I was on him. They did kill, like, most of my monsters, but just one more round, I think I would have had him if the rolls were good. And this time around on this campaign versus the first time we played, I'm rolling a lot better. I'm rolling more 6s instead of 1s and everything like that. But back to my story with everybody's favorite part and everybody's least favorite part. Realistically, everybody's favorite part of the game is rolling on the loot tables and rolling exploration, because you roll a D100 on your explorations and everything, and there's these loot charts, and what happens to your characters is all pretty much determined by tables and charts. And you never know what you're going to get, and they equate it to like a form of gambling. So like, man, oh yeah, I totally want to roll on the exploration table, and which, like, action should my character take next, you know, and is exploration better or is trading better, and what are we going to find on this planet? So, oh, my paint is getting too thin. This paint is too thin. And this paint is too thick. Then I gotta get a paint that's just right. It's a little thick, but yeah, this is, oh, he turned into a Navajo there. He's got like really thick bandana. I'm just gonna call this guy Cochise. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you roll on the loot tables and it's all fun and games, and tonight is the next game and we'll see how it goes. But we're having a lot of fun. Now they do have, you know, there's a lot of different, you know, solo games, but they work really well for playing multiplayer. And they have, my next campaign is going to be a sci-fi campaign. A sci-fi. We're playing sci-fi. I'm painting and talking at the same time. That's why I'm screwing up here. But my next campaign is going to be a fantasy campaign, and the rule set I'm going to use is called the Rangers of Shadow Deep. And I just got finished reading the book, and it's not nearly as in depth as 5 Parsecs from Home. I'll tell you that. Your customer character creation and customization is a little more in depth. You know, there's a lot more options than you have points to pump into those options. It's like, and you got to make some choices. But I mean, you'll make every ranger pretty much a different person every time. You know, and you get to get some companions. But since I have 3 players, that means they play 3 main characters, which means they don't get that many companions. They get maybe 1. You know, this Rangers of Shadow Deep is going to be like, you have 4 player characters, and, you know, 5 Parsecs, you have 6. So I got a power fist to paint. I'm going to paint that bad boy red with some gold knob. I finally get to have something like really big to paint with this red. I'm going to do the whole shoulder polder. I'm going to do the whole frickin' thing red. And I don't have to be nearly as intricate. I got to wear my reading glasses to do this nowadays because I'm getting old. Yeah, the days of you know, painting lensatic gem-like effects on Space Marine helmets, those days are freaking over, baby. I ain't doing that shit no more. I'm like, I can't even see the freaking eyeball. You want me to paint like reflections on it? Oh my gosh. But, you know, we can still make minis look halfway decent. They're better than gray, right? Am I right? I mean, how many people paint all their minis? But, I mean, if you get your minis and you get a nice, you know, section of them, then it doesn't take long to get all of your minis painted. I mean, I've got about maybe 3/4 of my minis painted. It's only taken me 15 years. So I don't think that's very bad. Now, there's different kind of collections for painting miniatures and collecting miniatures. And one school is like, you get one army, like Space Marines or Tyranids or something, and you just collect that. And that's all you play all the time. And then I like to do a small warband or squad or skirmish army size of every single thing that's out there. Like these guys, I think I dragged these guys out of my bits box. And like my good stuff, like my Skaven and my dwarves and stuff, you know, I hold those for the good games. There we go. He's looking pretty nice. But so there's 2 different camps. It's like you get a little bit of everything, or you get a lot of just one thing. And that's basically my collection style. Yesterday I spent like just a ton of time putting together my fantasy stuff, getting ready for this new Rangers of Shadow Deep, and I was like, man, what am I gonna get? And I was like looking on eBay for like starter box skinks from like the 90s or the early 2000s, and it's like, oh my gosh, the prices are just out freaking outrageous. I was like, holy smokes. If you can find skinks at all, you know, that's if you can find them. Or, you know, goblins from the old starter set, they're all like one pose. And it's like, luckily, you know, I just dig through a box here, dig through a bag there, and I'm like, oh, I already have this stuff. Why am I even bothering trying to buy this stuff? You know, this is retarded. I should be just looking and seeing what I already have. And I'm glad I got what I got when I got it. I've said that before, and I'll probably say it again, but um, it's like, you know, Star Wars action figures. It's like before the pandemic, you can pick them up for, you know, you pick up a whole batch of them for 30, 35 bucks. And now one dude that's not even that rare goes for 35 bucks. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh. This is, you know, the scalpers and the speculators and all those people, they just came into the hobby and took over." And it's like, you know, Magic the Gathering. It's like my buddy plays Magic, and the cards are just like, I'm glad I don't, you know, you got to pick your battles when you do your nerd stuff. And nothing against Magic the Gathering now, don't get me wrong. It's just like I got to pick my battles. It's like I do miniatures, and I do Star Wars and G.I. Joe, a little bit of Transformers, but I draw the line on comic books, and I draw the line on card games. Just because they're just not my bag, baby. You know? They're just not my thing. But those, you know, Magic the Gathering cards, it's like, dude, you know, just a freaking printed piece of cardboard, right? I mean, it's not like, you know, you're tearing up the world with that stuff. I'm doing these guys. I think these are Utes from Gorka Morka. Old school, old school game. Most of you guys probably already know all about it. But if you don't, it's a orc game that involves driving vehicles and trucks around. And these guys are like a real fringe kind of faction slash unit you can do. Just gonna put a little vest on this guy right here. You know, once I throw some brown wash on these guys, you'll never notice. You'll never notice. I'm gonna paint this guy's underwear. You know. And I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I don't know how long it's gone. I'm just like kind of rambled on while I'm painting. And I'll finish up painting these guys. And just go from there. And I don't think he needs any more red. He's just, that's it. Bloop, bloop. He's done. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.